Alright, so the last one of our basic lessons here in Premiere is how do we do what are called transitions. So right now we have straight cuts everywhere, and for the most part on our video itself, those straight cuts, they make sense. But at the beginning and the end, it's not necessarily the way we want to handle it, because if you start very abruptly, sometimes that's a problem. So what we do is in our browser window down here, we can go to Effects, and we're going to go to Video Transitions, and then dissolve. And there's a couple of different things in here that we can use. We can use what are called additive dissolves, cross dissolves, dip to black, dip to white. Additive dissolve and cross dissolve are the two you're going to use the most. So what I'm going to do is take the additive dissolve, click on it, and drag it, and put it at the beginning of my graphic. And now if I go to the beginning of this, we're not seeing the graphic, but we'll see it fade up.
Well, my name is Walter Washington, and this is my third.
We don't really want it to disappear at the end, so again, I'm just going to grab another one and drag it to the end, and now you'll see it dissolve back out.
And this is my third.
And it does as a standard a 1 second dissolve. If you come in and you double click on it, you'll get this duration up here, and you can make it whatever length you want. Usually 1 second is pretty good. Sometimes you might want it a little quicker. Sometimes you may want it a little bit longer. At the end, I probably want to do the same thing here. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to drop one there, and I'm going to drop one here. And now what will happen at the end is I'm going to get this fading to black, and then the graphic fading up.
Like it should be.
All right, and that's not too bad there. Just so you know, this red and yellow bar here, what this is saying is that Premiere needs to render this video. This video doesn't actually exist yet. That's the only reason that it's there. It will render it either when you tell it to render, which you can do through a keystroke command or through one of the pull-down menus, or it'll just render it when you go ahead and tell it to export the video later on. Now, the other option that I have, if I just undo the two of those, is to do a cross dissolve. And if I come in here and I drop a cross dissolve there, and a cross dissolve here, we can see what happens if this works. And what ended up happening is I still ended up with a fade out, fade in. And the reason for that is there wasn't enough overlap between these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo both of those, and then I'm going to take my end graphic and I'm going to drag it down to here. And now if I take a cross dissolve and I drop it on top of that and I play it,
like it should be.
It dissolves from one into the other. And I don't necessarily know that I would want to do that, so I'm going to undo that, because I think what I really want is to have those two additive dissolves dropped on there so it fades to black and then fades back up into my graphic. But if we want to see how that dissolve is going to work, let's see.
While we have the veggie burgers, dog.
That's not a really great one to do. Let's try here.
Quality. Everything is high.
Let's give it a try and see what happens. Let's drop a cross dissolve on there. I don't think it's going to look great. I don't think we usually want to use too many cross dissolves in video.
Quality. Everything is high quality.
But you do get that sort of an effect to work there. I'm going to go ahead and undo that because that is not what I want. So at this point in time, my basic project is done. Maybe one last thing I'm going to do is take an additive dissolve and drop it here at the beginning so that my video, I don't know why I lost my additive dissolves there. I think I hit a few too many Command Z, so I'm going to drop them back on there. Let me just play this at the beginning, and now what I should have is my video and graphic coming up and at the same rate. So let me click over here. Sorry, play it.
Well, my name is Walter Washington, and this is my third football.
So that's the basics of how we're going to go ahead and add some graphics. So I'm just going to hit Command S because I see my little asterisk up here telling me I have unsaved changes. And then the last thing I'm going to do is export this. So I'm going to come to File and come down to Export and then Export Media. All right. And once I've got that done, I can just go ahead and I can make sure that I've got the whole project here. This is just going to give me a quick play. And if you wanted to trim it for some reason, you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. So I want to do check a couple of things. I want to change the format to H.264. This is a nice compact web-ready format. So I want to get that in there. And then I also want to come down. You've got these tabs down here. I want to come down to Audio. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. And where it says channels, you're going to have a default of stereo. I want you to change that to mono. What that's going to do is, because on the Canon cameras we're using, if you're using the wireless mic, you're only going to have sound on one channel. You don't want somebody listening and only hearing sound coming from one speaker or one headphone and not the other. So we're just going to go ahead and make all of our projects mono at this point in time. And once you're done with that, you can go ahead and you can click export, and it will start sending it out. And that's it. So those are the basic lessons for working in Adobe Premiere.